Hello. At the moment I'm writing this script, the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie trailer has been released. Honestly, it's a shame that I'm using AI voice because you can't hear my excitement. Because I'm a fan of Fnaf since 2015, yes, I came at the biggest hype. I think that all of you have seen this trailer more than 5 times. I would lie if I didn't tell I've seen it at least 10 times, but if you haven't seen it yet, you have a link to it in the description. In this video, I don't really want to react to a trailer frame by frame. More people already did it better than I could ever do. I want to further analyze the possible story of the Fnaf 2 movie. Yes, I will for a while analyze the trailer and use it as a background image. This video will be divided into 4 sections. Story of books, story of the movie, similarities between both of them, theories / possible Fnaf 2 movie story. These sections are divided even more. You have a time span of every section, so feel free to skip if you don't care about one or more of them. Many people already try to figure out the story of the second movie, but no one mentioned books. Of course, I don't mean all 60 books. Who should make sense of it all? I mean the first 3 books that were released when I started to be a fan, The Silver Eyes, The Twisted Ones, and The Fourth Closet. By the way, these books are my favorite next to Blackbird and Bunny Call. But the main trilogy about Charlie is the first subject of this video. If you don't know the story of them, I will quickly tell you about it. Alright, the section about the books took longer than expected. If you don't want to know the story and everything that I will refer to or know the story, feel free to skip this section. For the rest, this will take a long time, so it's better to put it as a background video and do your own things with it. The story takes place in the alternative universe where William Afton doesn't kill Charlie, but her twin Sammy that she doesn't have in games. The books are in some ways different, mainly the last one. The Silver Eyes starts with Charlie hiding. It's obviously from an animatronic. It's Foxy looking around and then noticing her and attacking her. Then we're going back in the story before this happened. Charlie is driving to Hurricane in Utah because one of her childhood friends, Michael, disappeared as a child and never was found. And his parents had a memorial event for Michael and all missing children. Charlie is met with her other friends, Jessica, Carlton, and John. All of them decide to go to the restaurant. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, which isn't abandoned as in the games, but is built into a big mall, something similar to Mega Pizzaplex in the security breach. There, after they go into Freddy's, find Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, and later Foxy that is still out of order. But because Carlton knocks over some puts, so they run out of it because a security guard is still there. Consequently, after the end of the memorial event, Charlie and John go to Henry's house, but Henry did a suicide, so now it's more Charlie's. Charlie has weird memories to the house, like how Henry created an endoskeleton. Charlie has some well-known toys like Ella that was shown in more books. Also, there is Theodore and Stanley. John recalled at Henry's house about the day that animatronics started to go crazy without any reason when a yellow mascot, Golden Freddy, was standing with Michael behind John. Yes, he is the Golden Freddy. Fredbear has a purple bow tie and purple hat, while Golden Freddy has a black bow tie and hat. But back to what happened. When John turned back to Michael, Golden Freddy was gone, and with him Michael too. At night, Charlie, John, Jessica, Carlton go to Freddy's with their 2 childhood friends Lamar and Marla, who take with her a younger brother named Jason. Then for a while they walk around the pizzeria and find a control panel of animatronics. For some, they play with it, and accidentally cut Charlie with Foxy's movement into her arm. Given the fact that Charlie literally bleeds, they go to Henry's house to bandage the bleeding arm. Because it's pretty late and everyone is tired, all of them sleep in the house. In the morning, John and Charlie remember the other restaurant, but the first one with yellow mascots on the podium. The suits could wear workers and, of course, endoskeletons. Both drive to the Fredbear's family dinner, and Charlie realizes that this is the place where Sammy, her twin, was taken by Spring Bonnie right before her eyes. They were toddlers, but both Charlie and John don't find anything more useful, so they came back to Henry's house, where all of them agreed to go again into Freddy's. But right at the entrance, the night guard catches them, but mainly Carlton ensures him that he can go with them and watch them, so they don't take anything and they will never again come back. The security guard agrees and says that his name is Dave. With it, he tells them a history of this place. The mall is abandoned because There was something strange about the Freddy's. That place had in some weird way aura that ensued the place was abandoned. And a few franchises that were in the mall wanted to end their deal and leave as fast as they could, so that place stayed without a life. Charlie notices a few suspicious things on Dave, mainly his scars on Nico. It's not weird. Literally, even I have in real life 3 scars on my body, and one of them is on the neck. It's an obvious discrimination against people with scars. Except that the other suspicious thing is the fact that the can with the control panel makes animatronics dance and make it look easy. But just for a while, because when animatronics see Dave, they start to stop functioning and stop dancing. Also, it shouldn't be underestimated the fact that Dave secretly, without anyone's notice, ran to the security office, and from a locker, took a spring Bonnie suit. To everyone that knows just a little bit of FNAF lore, is obvious that his name isn't Dave, but William Afton. Meanwhile, Jason and Carlton were in arcades. Jason saw a spring Bonnie around and went to Carlton in the Pirate Cove to inform him. Yet when 2 of them meet, Spring Bonnie kidnaps Carlton, and Jason quickly runs towards the rest of the group and tells them that a yellow Bonnie took Carlton. John and Charlie want to find him immediately, but Marla doesn't want to let Jason be in Freddy's a second longer. So everyone goes to the father of Carlton, a police chief Clay that convinces Jessica, Charlie, Marla, Jason, Lamar, and John that it's just a prank that Carlton often does. He once convicted his whole class that he has a twin and other kinds of prank. Clay wasn't happy that they were in Freddy's because of its history. Back then when 5 children disappeared, Clay still as a detective arrested William Afton, but had to release him. Even though he was sure he did it, but didn't have enough evidence. Many people thought that Henry did it, but no one was again arrested. We all heard this since FNAF, one rare poster that says all of this. For the rest of the day, he is convinced that it's just a prank, but the other morning is convinced by his wife to send a policeman to Freddy's. The policeman looked all over the mall and then went to Freddy's and was killed by William Afton. Meanwhile, John and Charlie were in Henry's house, where Charlie tells John how her father died. Remember the endoskeleton that Charlie remembered when she came into the house? Yeah, Henry built specifically this animatronic to kill him. Yes, this is his suicide. This suicide made the whole town feel like Henry killed all of the children and killed himself because of guilt. Since Henry's death, Charlie's aunt and sister of Henry took care of Charlie, who lived with her since Henry's death. Aunt Jen went to Charlie's room to take her stuff and covered Charlie's eyes to not see the blood and lifeless body of Henry. But Charlie still saw it through the fingers. Yes, Henry had a sister in books. John and Charlie now look at photos of little Charlie that Charlie didn't remember taking, plus looked like Ella. Then they figure out that Henry wasn't the only owner of the restaurant, but before they could find more, Marla ran to them with information that Jason went to Freddy's. But what is meanwhile happening with Carlton? He is basically in the hands of a psychopath that is crazy in games. Well, he doesn't have a good time because he is in the springlock suit that he tries to get from, but he isn't successful. Afton walks in and tells him the best description of springlocks that I've ever heard. Let me play the whole sequence here.
These suits were designed for 2 purposes: to be worn by men like me, and to be used as working animatronics like the ones you can see on stage. Understand? You see, all of the animatronic parts in this suit are still in it. They are simply held back by spring locks. Like this. These are spring locks. Watch. You can trip those spring locks very, very easily. It takes almost no movement at all. That's a very old costume. One of the first ones Henry made.
Henry? Who's Henry?
Henry, your friend Charlie's father. Did you not know that he made the place? Well, that's one of his first suits, and if you trigger those spring locks, 2 things will happen. First, the locks themselves will snap right into you, making deep cuts all over your body. And then, a split second later, all the animatronic parts, all that sharp steel and hard plastic will be instantly driven into your body. You will die, but it will be slow. You'll feel your organs punctured. The suit will grow wet with your blood, and you will know you are dying for a long, long time. You'll try to scream, but you'll be unable to. Your vocal cords will be severed, and your lungs will fill with your own blood until you drown in it.
How do you know that?
How do you think? Don't move.
I feel like this is the best way to tell you how dangerous spring locks are. The group of Charlie, Jessica, John, Marla, and Lamar try to go into the restaurant through the main entrance, but that is blocked, so they find a different way in. After they're short finding a new entrance, they decide to split into two groups so they can find Carlton and Jason sooner. Charlie, John, and Jessica decided to go around the podium, while Lamar and Marla found Jason in the Pirate Cove. Meanwhile, Carlton heard voices from his friends, so he tried to take probably the only chance of escaping, but realizes it's almost impossible without any hand, and mainly sees Golden Freddy saying, "It's me," that helps him to realize the fact that the souls of dead children and their bodies are in the animatronic suits. Because of Carlton's luck, Charlie and her part of the group sees him, and Charlie impulsively goes to save him. John and Jessica want to go with her, but the door couldn't be opened. Charlie went from the under podium, but immediately in the dining area before the podium, Bonnie attacks her. But because Charlie isn't Gregory or the janitor from Willy's Wonderland, she had to run and try to hide on the bathrooms. For a while it's successful, but Bonnie pretty creepily finds her and destroys all of bathroom. But Charlie in the chaos manages to run away and reach the office where is Carlton struggling. In the spring lock, because of Carlton's luck, Charlie is the only person that knows how spring locks work and get Carlton out of it. But Carlton was pretty close to horribly dying with his information that he told Charlie.
All those years ago, Michael, the others,
What about them, Carlton?
they are here. Dave, he took them from the dining room. They are still here.
How do you know that? The yellow bear.
I think it's Michael in that suit.
On Jason, Marla, and Lamar, Foxy attacks and drags Jason into the darkness. Meanwhile, William tries to kill Charlie and Carlton, but Charlie knockouts him with a baseball bat and tied him. Later, Jessica and John gets to the office or whatever the room is and use an aggressive diplomacy. Afton first doesn't talk, but after they give him his mask, he starts to speak. William explained to them that they are trapped at Freddy's. He says that the dead children often and easily forget about who killed them. The only thing they know is that the group are strangers and try to take their happiest day from them. Others try to reason with him, thinking that he will die too, but William has the animatronic suit that saves him because animatronics think they are one of them. Basically, it works the same way as the Freddy mask in the Fnaf 2 game, but it works there even on Foxy, unlike in games where it is pretty aware of you even if you have the mask. At the end, John realizes that it doesn't matter, trying to get more information from Afton and goes to find Marla and Lamar. Meanwhile, Chief Clay is at the police station after a call, where he gets information that the policeman he sent wasn't responding and decides to go back to Freddy's. Lamar and Marla again found Jason and hid with him to the party room under tables. They expect to see Foxy, but they realize that it's not Foxy. When they hear Freddy's music box and attack them as a side effect, destroying every table in the way, John saves them and with the rest runs to the hallway where they should find a tied Afton in the office. But the office is locked. It's obvious that William Afton escaped and locked the office. Now the whole group of Charlie, John, Jessica, Lamar, Marla, Jason, and Carlton is trapped in the hallway with Chica slowly looking like preparing to attack. And at the last moment, Charlie managed to electrify Chica. With a cable from the ceiling, rip Susie, she got pretty badly hurt, even if it's just temporary. Now that they are all together, they have practically a free way to run out of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza through the dining area. But there is waiting Foxy the Pirate Fox on them, and is preparing to attack all of them. But Charlie throws a brick on him and runs to arcades. And Foxy goes after her. Now, after 1-900 words, we go back to the first scene on the start. Charlie is hiding in arcades, and Foxy now goes through them and almost catches Charlie. But at the last moment, John saves her, and both run back to the group. But now, all of them are surrounded by Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. In this hopeless-looking situation, John wants to tell something to Charlie, but gets hurtful PSSSD later. I feel for you, John. We've all been through it. All animatronic are getting closer, and everyone is preparing for death until Golden Freddy shows up before Carlton. And every animatronic didn't stop. Carlton now knows that the animatronics didn't want to kill them, but wanted to defend them. And the moment Carlton informs them, his dad, Clay, gets into the Freddys. Everything is looking great, but something is terribly wrong. No one knows where William Afton is, who still calls himself Dave. He could be everywhere. However, this question gets quickly resolved by him choking Charlie and threatening to them that he can kill her before them if Chief Clay doesn't do what he says. Yet Afton underestimated the danger that unstable spring locks pose, but Charlie didn't and activated them. Now William Afton had truly a chance to become one of them. One behind another spring locks fail, and William dies, without any words and pretty quickly, without losing much of his blood. All animatronics now start leaving with Freddy dragging Springtrap with him into darkness. Jessica, Charlie, Lamar, John, Carlton, Marla, Jason, and Clay now could leave, and with it, the Silver Eyes ended. The Twisted Ones is probably my favorite FNAF book of all 60 books in the series. It starts with a Charlie. Sometime after the things that happen in the Silver Eyes book, she's in her class, but by her thoughts she is somewhere else. She is for some time thinking about her little brother Sammy, about how he was kidnapped by William Afton, and she has a weird feeling about him in her dreams, like Sammy is alive and behind a wall somewhere. But then, things about her first fight with her aunt. They were always distant from each other, but their fight ended by Charlie leaving her and going back to Hurricane. While she thought about everything that happened, she drew some nonsense art and denied a guy named Artie, because he asked about Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, dead children, etc. Then she goes back to her room. Charlie inherited her father's skills in programming and technology because she has created two heads that speak to themselves out of her bunny, Toy Theodore, sad face. After she looks at them, Jessica comes in, being exhausted, but then both start talking about Charlie's meeting with John that she is supposed to have. Charlie doesn't know what to speak about with John and is scared out of talking again about Freddy's. For some reason, it shouldn't be good. Since the trailer dropped, I've been talking about it. But then Jessica pushes her out to meet John. They finally meet, and John looks pretty different. He gets taller. And Charlotte? She cut her hair and did push-ups. They went to dinner, and remember how John was a writer? No? Good, because I didn't tell you about it, but John got a job in the city because being a writer doesn't give him money. But this isn't just about good things. And Hurricane was a storm that heavily damaged Henry's house, which Charlie hit. But then John saved it by asking Charlie out, and she agreed, but had to leave, even through the fact that she didn't eat yet. After it, she basically walked with butterflies in her belly, until she met the police chief and father of Carlton named Clay. Clay has found a body. On their way to the body, Chief Clay gave good advice. Either leave your trauma behind, or let them consume you. When they finally came to the body, Charlie easily recognized it. It was the body of a person that wore a springlock suit. Because of scars, but he didn't have a springlock suit on him. Back in the car, Clay mentions how it's planned to be demolished, but then the storm hit, and everyone was meant somewhere else. Also, as I mentioned, that Afton had a fast death and not that brutal. His body wasn't found, and the place he died on, the blood was fake. Charlie left the car to go to dinner with John, where it goes pretty good, but then John mentions Freddy's and how it destroyed his previous relationship. Charlie had some weird illusions about having blood on her hands, so she went to clean it and then saw another illusion, but now of herself. After the dinner, John and Charlie went to the cinema to watch a movie, but Charlie didn't pay any attention to the movie. She could think just about the dead body, and how could William survive it again? She figured out that the man that died didn't wear the suit voluntarily, that he was forced to wear the 7-feet-tall springlock suit. After the end, both decided to give it another try tomorrow. Jessica, of course, wanted to know everything about her date. Charlie says how uncomfortable it was, because she didn't know what to say. But then she asked Jessica to help her get new clothes. This was the kind of offer that Jessica couldn't refuse, even though she has exams tomorrow. But Charlie had a plan to go again into Freddy's. And go alone to that place she wouldn't, and convince Jessica about it would be hard. After their conversation, Jessica went to sleep, and Charlie worked on her project. Basically, both heads are constantly hearing and trying to gain informations, and out of them they talk. Also, when you wear this, they will stop talking to themselves, and you will become visible to them. But she has another hallucinations where heads just say where and there until she wakes up because of John's knocking on the door that wants to have a breakfast with her. But Charlie said no to him because she has girl plans with Jessica. John was shocked by it because she never was into these things. After that, they drove to Freddy's with Jessica, who wasn't happy about it, but went with her just to remind herself of it. Then they went into the mall, and it felt peaceful and better, but Freddy's was basically a ruin without animatronics and destroyed. Jessica stopped Charlie at the Pirate Cove that looked pretty good compared to others, but then they noticed scratches on the floor exactly where. Freddy dragged Afton, and it went through the door. When they opened it, the yellow rabbit fell on them with Afton inside, or at least what was left of that. After it, both go their classes, and we see Charlie do her project with Artie, but when she wants to help him with it, she notices another of her drawings. But these weren't random. They were doors, and Charlie knew it meant something. She knew that it had to do something with Sammy. So she left Artie's problems on him and left. Well, because Artie was the at first problem, it will take him a while. She felt she isn't really getting much of a fresh air and is too much in her room or in a class. She decides to drive somewhere to relax, but then notices vultures circling around a dead animal. It wasn't an animal. It was another dead person, a girl that looks exactly like Charlie, but with the scars from a Springlock suit. She quickly ran to the gas station because she wanted to use a phone, but it was just for customers, and then, when she decided to buy popsicles from a box, a white toy fox jump scares her, but she imagined it was Foxy. She reminded herself the sentence that her professor said, "Your eyes deceive you every day, filling in the blanks for you in a world of sensory overload." But after this prank that was made, she could use a phone and called Clay. When he arrived, he confirmed to him that they look almost as twins, but Charlie didn't want to believe it and convinced Clay to let Charlie go into the dead woman's house to prove they are not the same. Clay gave her just 20 minutes. Because she followed the speed limit, she had just 10 minutes out of 10. Charlie looked over the house, but didn't find anything. She didn't even know what she was trying to find. Then she went into the garden. There were 3 holes, perfectly looking like for a body. But then she heard alarms and quickly left the house. Charlie thought she missed something important, then she realized. She was supposed to meet with John 2 hours ago. She finally met John, still waiting at the restaurant. Charlie promised John to tell him everything. She had to clean her hands again before it and get other addresses from Clay, which happened, but also Clay told her that another woman was found dead because of Springlocks. She went after it into a bathroom, and she was constantly trying to convince herself that the dead girl looked nothing like Charlie. After Charlie left the bathroom, an old grandmother stared at them like, what is wrong with them? John told the grandma food poisoning. John and Charlie went to her house that was pretty destroyed and were looking around. When they looked in Charlie's room, talked with Ella, Charlie realized that everything she drew were doors, 3 doors next to each other. Clearly these 3 weren't them. But Charlie now knows what her drawings meant. They went down to Henry's workshop to find anything Charlie could use. John noticed a hole. It was right under Charlie's room, on a place where once was a living room, but in it there were 3 holes. In one of them was an animatronic, looking like Foxy. It looked like Henry's work, but her father never buried a failed animatronic. He was the type of man that would dismantle it and use it in his different works. But while she was trying to understand it, Foxy changed, looking like from Fnaf 4, but a little bit more organic, is known as a Twisted Foxy. He tried to eat Charlie, but John saved her by destroying him. Charlie takes a chip from the lifeless body of Twisted Foxy. This chip makes John sick because it smells like something dead, but without a smell. They went to Charlie's room, or more like Jessica's room, with a chip in their hands. Charlie found another chip. They never felt like Henry's work, and they found out that Afton Robotics made it. This chip was Afton's work. After it, John and Charlie took a map and realized that everybody was the same distance from each other. That meant they were traveling in a specific direction. Then Jessica came, and it went like this.
Who's killing who?
We were just talking about the movie we saw last night, right?
Oh, yeah, okay, sure. So, Charlie, what's the map for? Oh, does it have to do with Freddy's? Did she tell you? We went to the Freddy's yesterday.
Oh, funny. Charlie didn't mention that. I guess that was the girl stuff, huh?
I was going to tell you.
What's the map for? What are we looking for?
A new batch of animatronic monsters that are murdering people seemingly at random.
Oh. How? Where did they come from? Freddy's?
No, not Freddy's. They came from my dad's house, we think. But he didn't build them. It was Dave, or Afton, or whatever his name is.
She means
No, I get it. I was at Freddy's last year too, remember? Why didn't you tell me?
I just didn't want it to be like last time. There's no need to put everyone at risk.
Yeah, just me.
So, what are we doing?
There are about 3 miles between each location. That's my dad's house. Whatever is out there killing people came from there. They must have...
Come out when the storm broke the wall. Jessica, there were 3 open graves in a hidden room. 3 animatronics out there.
If we average out this path, we can draw a straight line.
Is that the college? Is that here?
That woman that looked like me. It wasn't a coincidence.
What are you talking about?
Then Charlie realizes that they're watching for her, that they want to take Charlie. Also, she figures out that they can move just at night, so they find a place to bury themselves. After the entry of my favorite character, Jessica, all 3 went to a place where the animatronics were meant to be buried. Charlie had a feeling that she knew where they might be buried. So she took a shower out of her car and went to the place. The Freddy was exactly where they thought. But it wasn't a normal Freddy. He looked like an unfinished fun-time Freddy. Jessica and John went to the gas station to call Clay, but again, customers only, so John went to buy popsicles, but that jump scare didn't work on him. After the Clay came, Twisted Freddy was changing into a more horror-looking version of Nightmare Freddy. Clay sends him back into his car. Then Charlie realizes that the chip is making a blind think something that isn't there. It deceives your eyes and brain, but it's not really there. At night, Clay wakes up and sees that all buried animatronics are missing. They missed it. Then, wakes up everyone and hears screams. For a short moment, they split up to find out where the screams were coming from. And then Charlie saw it. A twisted wolf, almost killing a woman, but then it walked away. Next day, Charlie is again in her class, writing an exam. But she suddenly starts thinking about what she saw yesterday and what it was supposed to be. Then when she hears her professor talking, she stops thinking about it and looks at her exam. She realizes that she drew doors again. Then she meets John. He asks her to go on dinner with him again, and Charlie agrees. But when she comes back to Jessica's room, she feels bad. Because she lied to John, Charlie knows that they're planning to attack her, and she has a plan, pretty dangerous. Charlie drives and goes into a house where they were supposed to go and lays on the bed and waits for them to come. John waits in a restaurant for Charlie, and after a time calls Clay if he heard of Charlie, and Clay didn't. John knows something is wrong. Back to Charlie. She heard many steps. There were 3 of them. She wanted to run, but knew she had to do this. The Twisted Freddy attacks her, and Charlie is now inside him, inside a spring-lock suit. Shortly after John and Clay come, but no twisted animatronic is here, not even Charlie. They go to a location where animatronics will go. Then Jessica comes, and all split up to find twisted animatronics, and mainly Charlie. Then John got an idea. To ask original Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, and Foxy. John asked Clay if he knows where they are. Clay said that after all of them left, Clay came for them, took them one by one to his ceiling. Every day he guarded the doors and checked them. But they never moved. Then his wife found it and left him because of it. Because Charlie was in danger, they went to see them. Jessica and John talk to them, and animatronics wake up. John makes a monologue and asks them for help.
John, we're going now.
We need your help to find Charlie.
We need to put some barriers between us and them. Come on. Hope this is enough.
They're coming up the stairs.
The basement door.
They're in the house. I think that was the front door. Come on.
Meanwhile, Charlie wakes up inside Springlocks, looking like from a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. The Springlocks were already cutting into her, but if she moved a little bit more, her death would be certain, but it wouldn't be quick. Out of nowhere, Twisted Freddy looked at her from inside, and Charlie triggered one of the Springlocks, but it was a miracle that she didn't trigger more. Jessica, John, and Clay were following Freddy, without knowing what would happen. Charlie, being stuck in the Springlocks, knew. That Twisted Freddy stopped moving. She was able to get her hands and legs out of Springlocks in time, because shortly after it activated every Springlock. Then, she almost died buried alive, but got free after it. But she wasn't somewhere in a field. No, she was at a different Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Bigger than the original one, but suddenly she heard a child voice that she followed. Then found a balloon boy. Then 2, then 4. Then 8, then 16, and more. Everyone saying hello, in place looking like a cave. Charlie went to Parts and Service, where she finally escaped to the Balloon Boys. There were a lot of costumes that looked lifeless. Then Balloon Boys are trying to get inside, but it wasn't a balloon boy. It was the Twisted Freddy. Charlie then ran away, and behind her a lot of Balloon Boys, while hearing that terrible noise. After it, Charlie finds John, Clay, and Jessica, who don't see the Balloon Boys, but realize that the noise is coming out of the lights. Clay shot every light, and the noise stopped, and Balloon Boys disappeared. Jessica, Charlie, Clay, and John are then going around a pizzeria, when suddenly the Twisted Freddy attacks them, and Clay shoots him a few times, and an illusion ends, and Freddy goes down. Then they hear a noise like scratching of claws against the wall. It was a Twisted Bonnie, and Clay shot him 3 times. But with Bonnie, it did nothing. So Charlie decided to ask them why they brought her here and what they wanted. Then Springtrap shows up, telling Charlie that she has something that belongs to him. But Clay shots him, and all run away. Then John and Clay burn Twisted Wolf and Bonnie. Charlie, after it, ran towards a wall in a corridor. She feels Sammy, as if he was there, while Springtrap laughs. Charlie walks into a cave with mushrooms, trying to find Sammy, but Springtrap attacks her. Meanwhile, still functioning Twisted animatronics attacked Clay, John, and Jessica, but original animatronics saved them. Original animatronics started to fight the Twisted ones and won. Springtrap was in a fake cave attacking Charlie until Charlie stabbed him and demanded to know why did Afton choose Sammy. And he says,
I'll kill you. What do you mean you didn't choose him? You took him from me. Why did you take him?
Charlie?
I didn't take him. I took you.
What?
After it, Springtrap escapes, and now the whole place is burning and being destroyed. They were now in Henry's house. Everyone was going out of a house, and Charlie wanted to. She felt Sammy like never before. It was never stronger. Charlie finally sees a door where she believes that Sammy is in and wants to go in it. She hears a heartbeat. And now watch. It's heartbreaking.
No, you have to come with us. You have to come with me.
No,
I love you. And I'm taking you with me. Right now.
Okay.
Okay.
It's still pulling. Ah! John! John!
Charlie, no! No, I can get you out! Let her out! Charlie? Charlie, are you?
Chief Burke!
Down here! Get the kids out!
What's going on?
I radioed for backup. Let's go. We aren't safe here.
No, she'll suffocate in there.
She's okay. Listen to me. She's okay.
Everyone out!
No.
At the end, Marla, Artie, Jessica, and John sit in the restaurant. Jessica is trying to just figure something up, but John gives up. Then Charlie, without a scar or any blood in a red dress, walks in, and everyone except John runs towards her. But John knows that this isn't Charlie. The fourth closet starts with John's memory of Charlie, when she died and he told her that he loves her. And when runs back to Charlie, he hears Charlie's voice coming from a door, exactly the same one as Charlie heard Sammy from it, which opens and sees a silhouette of Charlie. But then he gets interrupted by a worker that fires him from a job because he wasn't focused on a job in an active workplace. It's been 6 months since Charlie came back, and now, when he is fired from a job, he has no reason to stay in Hurricane. But while he is thinking on a road, suddenly a pink car rides towards him. It's Jessica that invites John to a meeting, with Carlton at Clay's house. But John wants to know if Charlie is there. Jessica tells him that Charlie misses him, and that he should speak with her sometimes. But John refuses, because he knows that she isn't a real Charlie, because Charlie is dead. Jessica gets angry at John because of saying Charlie is dead. Jessica talked to her, was with her, and says this is Charlie. And John's ignoring of Charlie is worse than what happened that night, because it's killing her more. Jessica asked John to come one more time. John said, just maybe, which is good enough for Jessica, and drives away. John then went home. He kept Theodore, and turns the TV on, but with his mind, he is somewhere else. He thinks of a possibility that this might be Charlie. But still he convinces himself to go, and try it at least, and meets with Clay, then with Marla, Jessica, and Carlton that came back from New York. When John hangs out with others, suddenly Clay calls him to the kitchen, just to make sure that John is okay. After some talk, Clay says that this headache isn't what John wants, and John agrees that he doesn't want to be here and leaves. And then he hears his voice and sees Charlie. Charlie tries to speak with John, but he says that she isn't her. Charlie cries and John starts to think it's really her. She just grew up. John starts to feel bad and thinks about what that moment could do to her, but then waits, realizing that his eyes are deceiving him, and asks Charlie if she remembers the last thing he said to her. Charlie didn't remember. She said that she didn't remember a lot of things that night. That was proof for John that it wasn't Charlie as he, for a second, hoped, and kept going. But Charlie stopped him, wanted to meet. She wanted after John to give her a chance. John agreed and wanted to meet at the same place as always. Charlie wanted to meet in the Thai place where they had their first date. John was confused, but both agreed to meet at 6 p.m., and then John drove away. John looked into Charlie's eyes and knew that those weren't her eyes. After John drove again, Jessica went to Charlie to talk and tried to say that John needed just some time. After it, Jessica, Carlton, Charlie, and Marla talked. Carlton mentioned the killer robots, but got a slap from Jessica for it. The next day, Charlie went to find remnants of twisted animatronics and forced a worker named Bob to get her to it. Meanwhile, John at his home wonders what happened to Charlie. John takes a possibility that this might be Sammy, her twin. Maybe Sammy was short for Samantha. Also that Charlie's twin maybe wasn't murdered by Afton, but raised so horribly by a psychopath and shaped into a monster like him. But everything was destroyed by his question. Why would William do that? After his wandering, Clay knocked on the door and John welcomed him in. Clay asked John about Charlie's Aunt Jen, because John claimed to see her next to Charlie's corpse, and Clay realized that they didn't know enough about that night and wasn't ready to declare Afton dead. Clay realized that Charlie may hold something back and might be comfortable enough to share it with John that is supposed to see her tonight. John, after their talk with Clay, went to the date. He was an hour earlier, so he used that time to think about everything that he doesn't know about his friends and how horrible a friend he is. John sees a new restaurant, Circus Baby's Pizza, in a place which was a theater. John went straight into the restaurant. He finds out how similarly it looks like Freddy's, even how it all smells the same. He looks around, but an employee makes him leave, because he needs to be here with a child, not without it. Meanwhile, Jessica gets back to her apartment, where Charlie scares her. Charlie confides that John doesn't probably like her new looks and wants Jessica to choose for her a new outfit. But Jessica, being the best character she is, tells her that Charlie looks great and that both should acknowledge the fact. Both changed, plus John from his perspective saw her die. After Charlie asks Jessica if she remembers what John said to her that night. But Jessica didn't know anything. They were alone for a few minutes. Then Charlie leaves, and Jessica knows one thing certainly. John is testing her. After every date that Charlie came late, this time she came perfectly at time, John immediately tested her about a movie both of them watched. Charlie immediately says, "Zombies versus zombies." Then they get food that John ordered because he got used to it. John asks Charlie how she got away from the Springlock suit unharmed, without any scar. Charlie says that she didn't. She had to change after the Springlock suit, change everything, her looks, personality, etc., or she would go insane from it. Charlie didn't like what she was. John never thought of Charlie like that, but still it didn't change that he saw her dead. Charlie tells him that she is alive. Mainly she asked what she would be if it's not her. John tells this.
Thought about it a lot. Almost constantly, actually. I guess maybe I thought you were Sammy.
Sammy's dead.
Well, yeah, I know, but you only saw Sammy being kidnapped, not killed. And maybe Sammy is short for Samantha. Sammy could have been a girl all along.
I can't believe this. John, you took me to see Sammy's grave yourself, remember?
I took you to the cemetery, but I never saw Sammy's grave, or your father's.
Then go look sometime. It's not like they're going anywhere. Aunt Jen warned me not to come back to Hurricane. She's 3 for 3 at this point. Have you heard from her, by the way?
From your aunt? I figured you're living with her after you moved out of the dorm.
I haven't seen her in a while. She rescued me that night, you know. She took me home and cleaned me up. Made sure I was okay. But
I thought you said you didn't remember anything from that night.
I don't. I woke up in her house, and she told me what happened.
But she left? Or you left? I'm confused. Do you want her to find you?
I'd like to know where she is.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Charlie tries to invite John a sequel to Zombies versus Zombies, but John refuses and leaves. On his way, he is again thinking if this is his Charlie. He's been asking himself for months, but now it felt unreal. Now a few clowns stand before him and encircled him. John quickly ran to his car where he hid, but he realizes that it's just a few people in costumes, something that he has a history with. John went to Clay as planned to talk about Charlie, and tells about Charlie's trying to find her aunt. Both know that Aunt Jen was pretty cold, and Clay was even surprised that she took Charlie after Henry died. Then John asks about Charlie's mother, and Clay said that Henry never said a bad word about her, but she ran away after their kid died. One day, Clay asked Henry about his wife. He just gave him, after a long time of thinking, a sad look, and she wouldn't know what to do with my little girl. John notices Ella on a shelf. Clay asked Charlie if she wanted it back, but she wasn't interested, so he kept her. John could not believe it because Henry did it for her. Then Clay talked for a time about a second child that is abducted. John goes back to his car. Everywhere around him is fog and sees a tall woman clown with red hair, red clothes, and completely white. Just laughing, John wasn't sure what to do, so he sat into his car and that clown was gone. For John, it was just another weirdo in a costume. Back in Clay's house, he heard out of nowhere a door that was destroyed, so he took his gun and headed to it. Clay tried to call the police, but a stone was thrown on him and got badly hurt. On the next morning, John listens to Theodore's talking head and hears Shining Star, Silver Reef. Yet the phone rings and he goes to answer it. It's a call from Pioneer Memorial Hospital that informs John about Clay's bad injury, but he is stable, and when was conscious, he was asking for John. In another scene, we can see a red-white clown, circus baby that is working on command. She notices that the work she works on looks like it is in pain. But the commander doesn't care because they remember him as he was. He knows that they can't be destroyed, that they can work for a greater purpose only. The commander and baby created a fun-time Freddy. The commander, as I will call him now, sends baby again to Chief's house to find a final component they need. John and Jessica went to the hospital to see Chief Clay. Now he had a big scar over his eye. But Chief Clay still felt all right and gave John photos. In the photos were John, Charlie, Jessica, and Carlton. Someone stalked them. Jessica knows that Clay took those photos, and the only common element on them was Charlie. Then came Carlton and Marla. Carlton wanted to know why the hospital called John first and not him as his actual family. Then came Charlie too and also was curious. But John told them that he didn't know. Jessica, with John, lied to everybody about her class that she might make it too in his job interview just to get away. No one has seen it and both left. They talk outside, and suddenly in John's bag, Theodore starts saying, Silver Reef. John asks what it means, and Jessica knows that Silver Reef is a nearby town. Both go into a town. On a place, they see a wooden gate with a star on it and go through it to the house. When they knock on a house, they see Aunt Jen. Jen welcomes them inside and locks the door. They talk for a while and mention Clay's message. It has to have a maximum range. Someone knocks on a door, and Jen tells them to go to the back room, shut the door, and leave a horse. Jessica hears that it's Charlie. John is looking through the stuff in a room and finds a chest, and from it goes just 2 sentences. Shining Star, Silver Reef. They open it and...
Silver Reef.
Oh my god.
Shining Star. Silver Reef.
Charlie? Jessica, it's Charlie. She's still alive.
John, I cannot even process that right now.
But...
We have to run, now.
Then Red Dress, Charlie kills Aunt Jen and sees the car driving away with John, Jessica, and Charlie in it. A few hours later, John and Jessica put Charlie on a bed, and Jessica is trying to convince John to take her to the hospital. John finds a photo of younger Charlie from Henry's house, and both realize that she looks like Ella. John leaves Jessica with Charlie and goes to Clay's house for Ella and looks at her boot, and there is a chip with Dave's name. The next scene is focusing again on a commander looking into fire, talking about Henry to Baby. A commander said to Baby that she is disappointed that she didn't find what they needed, but the baby knows where to look. After this scene, Jessica talks to still unconscious Charlie and how a lot of people that she cares about are now unconscious. Jessica starts to think about the sentence, it has a range, and tries to find out what claim means. She looks at the photos and sees that the only person that is blurry is Charlie. Everyone is normal. Then John comes back. With news, Jessica first shows the photos and sees that Charlie is blurry, and then the perfect photo of Circus Baby. Red Dress Charlie changes. John then explains that Circus Baby looks like a Charlie because of the same chips that Twisted Animatronics used. Out of nowhere, Red Dress Charlie, I will call her like this, and a Charlie on a bed, normally Charlie, says hi to them. John quickly hides Charlie while Jessica is outside talking to Red Dress Charlie. Red Dress Charlie looks around his house and talks to him, and John asks Charlie out for dinner, and that surprises her and agrees. By the way, look at Jessica. Here you can see why she is my favorite character. Red Dress Charlie leaves the house, and then we go into a dream of Charlie. She hears them talking, and she is confused, and wakes up from a dream. For some time she talks to John, and then again falls unconscious. That night, Red Dress Charlie waits on a date for John. John took a walkie-talkie with Jessica. She and Carlton are hiding behind a corner. Red Dress Charlie immediately asks John why they were in Silver Reef. John says that he was looking for an old friend. Red Dress Charlie wants to know more, and John tells her this.
Yes, I found her.
Where is she?
I don't know what it'll take to show these people what you really are, but I can try all sorts of things before you make it out of that door. I'll start with this glass of soda, then I'll try a chair over the back of your head. We'll see where we go from there.
Thank you for dinner, John.
What's happening in there?
She's paying the bill?
Because of John's weird plan to tell Red Dress Charlie about Charlie, Jessica ran away with a plan and gave Carlton her car. After Charlie left, Carlton ran to John asking for the hell he was doing. Red Dress Charlie drove to the Circus Baby's Pizza without an idea that Jessica is in her trunk. Jessica looks around the door, but Red Dress Charlie with Baby's face and attacks her. Jessica wakes up with her hands tight together, somewhere where she doesn't know, and asks Circus Baby what she is. Baby just says that she is Charlie, and finds out that Baby has memories of Charlie. Baby knows that they from apart aren't her, and feels disappointed by Charlie. Baby changes herself to red dress Charlie and talks about her childhood and how bad it was because of the commander. And Jessica knows it's Afton, but red dress Charlie changes herself to look like Baby and says that William Afton never made anything with love and wanted to rip Jessica in half. Circus Baby talks about her obsession to be Charlie and how she wants to be the center of his world. Baby remembers a little blonde girl with green eyes looking at her, also remembering to watch from the same eyes of a girl named Elizabeth on herself. And if you know Five Nights at Freddy's, Circus Baby did the only thing she was made for. It was her first capture, her first kill. Jessica gets from a rope and tries to run away, but suddenly Springtrap shows up in a door and prevents her from running away. Then the next scene is focusing on Henry and little Charlie. Henry is happy, but Charlie sees that he cries. After Charlie wakes up, looking around when Marla, John, and Carlton noticed that she woke up and started talking to her. Marla talked to her, measured her pulse, and made her drink water. John held Ella next to Charlie and wanted her to keep her eyes on a doll while he clicked on a chip. And it made a horrible noise that Marla and Carlton didn't hear and made them sick. But the important thing is that Ella started to look like little Charlie, like from the scene with Henry. Ella made the illusion. Charlie could recognize that this wasn't made by Afton, but her father, by Henry. Jessica was meanwhile trying to fight a singing endoskeleton that looked like Springtrap, but then was destroyed by the commander. But now it's revealed it was William Afton, because he always comes back. He talked to Jessica and his past looks. Jessica confronted him with nice touch and fake blood. But William says it was very real blood, and he bled a lot. Then Jessica heard the little children that went missing. William talks more, but especially this scene is the worst one of all and pretty much is destroying the lore, but it's too long and nothing important in it. Basically, Afton wants to be immortal and shows Jessica something like a molten Freddy created out of every original animatronic. And he wants to cut off as much from himself as he can through Circus Baby. Baby forced her to look. The funny scene is just Jessica looking at shoes.
Stone trap at the ankle, platform, sneakers, denim, hideous.
John and Charlie are speaking about her project from the Twisted Ones. John wants to know if she could make animatronics, not see them. Charlie wants to try it, but then she had to sleep again. Carlton goes to Jessica's apartment and unlocks the door with her keys for earbuds. He looks around and looks to the closet and finds a box with Charlie's weird experiment and in it the earbuds. After it, both heads start talking to themselves. Carlton switches some wires in the earbuds and puts them in his pocket, but that horrible noise makes Carlton sick and he realizes it's coming from a different source. It was coming from Red Dress Charlie that found him on the floor. Red Dress Charlie changes herself to Baby and attacks Carlton. Now Baby with her race plates open and her handsaws attacking him. He had no other option than to put the earbuds on. And it worked. Baby couldn't see him. To her, he was invisible. Charlie wakes up and talks with John, and Charlie remembers that John told her that he loves her. Charlie talks a lot with John and wants to know how long it has been, and John tells her it was 6 months. We go back to Jessica that wakes up, and around her are 4 children. Jessica wants them to be safe, but children tell her to not open the door. Jessica asks them after on their name. They are Ron, Jacob, Lisa, Alana. Jessica asks them what happened and how they got here. Everyone basically says that Baby kidnapped them, but because Scott and everyone is normal and psychically okay. Unlike the pirate boy, so nothing bad happened to them. Back at John's house, Carlton came to find John and Charlie, but they left, and just Marla was there to wait if Jessica came back. Carlton and Marla decides to go into Circus Baby's Pizza to try and find Jessica. In another chapter, Charlie and John are sitting in a car, and Charlie asks about her car, but it's all right. Also, John mentions Artie, because he wants to know if they date or not. Of course, Charlie doesn't even know about it, and both find it absurd. Then they both look to Jen's house to find something new. When they enter the house and try not to look at her body. After this family reunion, they go into a storage and find a letter to Jen from Henry. Where is this written?
My dearest Jenny, I've warped and twisted my surroundings to the point where I can never be sure if I'll settle into reality again. Even if I did manage to turn off everything planted in the walls made to deceive myself, the damage is done, and far too great.
Daddy,
Charlie, this is pretty rough.
keep reading. Please, John.
I have my Charlie here with me, though she gives me no joy. I've poured agony into her, made her a reminder not of what I once
had, but of the unbearable pain of what was taken from me. Keep all the closets shut. Let them be tombs for my denial and grievance, especially the fourth closet. Seal it, bury it.
But that's where I felt Sammy. That was Sammy calling to me from in there.
My grief was already beginning to awaken me to reality when I began what was to be your
Final stage. I had no choice but to cease my work, for I was only feeding my own delusion. My old partner, who I can only hope now is in a grave of his own, took what I had begun and made something of his own, something dreadful. I was able to stop him and to seal away what he made. Jenny, you must ensure that the seal remains. Then, someday, after many decades have passed and no one remembers, fill the house with every kind of flammable thing and burn it to the ground. Standing close guard to put a bullet into anything that emerges from the rubble, no matter what or who it looks like. I'm going to be with my daughter. Love, always, and to the end. Henry.
Both Charlie and John didn't know why Henry acted like she died and not Sammy. It sounded like he went crazy. Then Charlie finds many plans. The first looked like a little kid, like Charlie or Ella. Then the second one looked like a bigger child version of Charlie. The third plan paper looks like the current Charlie, and on the fourth, there was a red dress Charlie. Both theorize why would Henry want to build a doll looking like her, and why Afton would steal the fourth one. Then out of nowhere, the red dress Charlie shows up behind them. Back to Marla and Carlton now, standing before the Circus Baby's pizza. Then they find a footprints of Jessica, and follow them until they stop before the door where they end. Unlike Jessica, Carlton knows from his dad that lock-picking is useful, and that skill is used there to open the locked door. When they enter the room, they look around and see monkey bars, and in them, children? But after John asks them if they are okay and where are their parents, both know they're not real and are weird clown robots. There they test their earbuds, and they work those little. Animatronics have no clue that someone is there, so Marla and John keep them in that opinion and leave. After it, both go into a mirror maze for fun. But where it is fun, there is Fun Time Freddy. And now, Marla, who is great at mazes, must be even better. Meanwhile, Jessica, because she is the best character and tries to find ways to escape and asks children why were they so afraid to open the door. A girl says that it's all mangled up and Jessica thinks it's just broken, opens the door and Mangle attacks her, but Jessica scares her back. But Mangle may be scared out of Jessica, but not out of the children, and through the ventilation kidnaps one of them. But children being children are scared and run away, even though Jessica tells them to stay together. Back to fun at the maze. Funtime Freddy's voice is getting closer. Marla just finds the exit and runs through it, but Carlton just smashed his head into a mirror. And Funtime Freddy now sees him and attacks him because Carlton lost his earbud on a floor, so Marla throws it back to him. And Funtime Freddy is confused, not being able to see him now, so both Carlton and Marla can run away. After they close the door behind Funtime Freddy, they hear a multiple child scream. Jessica runs behind the children trying to stop them and runs to Marla and Carlton. Carlton decides to give Jessica his earbud, so Marla and Jessica can take the children out and Carlton can find the last child. Marla and Jessica go through the corridors to the exit, but Mangle attacks them through the ceiling and almost grabs a child, but Jessica saves her. After it, they block the door and Mangle with it. They think they are safe, but these little ugly robots that bit a child. So Marla and Jessica did exactly the same thing as I would do and destroyed them into atoms. Okay, but I feel bad for this one with white hair. Funtime Foxy on a stage decides to attack Jessica, and Mangle gets through the door. Jessica takes her earbud away, so she can take both on herself instead of children. Almost identical animatronics, like seriously, Scott, why do they look so similar? They're not even related. Children escape from the restaurant, and Jessica now has to hide in a slide while Mangle chases her. Jessica escapes through a vent, but Mangle is closely behind. After it, Jessica takes an earbud, so Mangle leaves. Jessica, after it too, leaves the Circus Baby's pizza, and with Marla and 3 children go to the police station. Back to Charlie versus Red Dress Charlie. Red Dress Charlie wants to take Charlie to William, calling him their father, but Charlie's father is dead. Then the Red Dress Charlie punches John and knocks him out. Meanwhile, Carlton is in a hide-and-seek hallway and hears a voice saying hello. Carlton is determined to find the last kid, because he doesn't want to let the child in like Michael did. Carlton is trying to find the child, and when he goes to the voice, it's not a child. Fun time, Freddy tricked Carlton. Charlie and Red Dress Charlie now talk, and Charlie asks what she is. But Red Dress Charlie puts her head to Charlie's, and Charlie sees. From the eyes of Ella, trying to show William her beautiful drawing of Cat. But William aggressively tells her not to disturb him. Meanwhile, Carlton runs for his life to a carousel that hits Funtime Freddy many times and pretty brutally destroys Funtime Freddy. That explodes, and his completely destroyed head flies over. But Carlton doesn't stop with thinking about it, because now he hears the real kid scream behind a door and runs to it. Meanwhile, Red Dress Charlie talks about how she always wanted attention from her father, so she wanted to become like Elizabeth to be loved. She remembers screaming and heading the same scream. Charlie doesn't obviously believe her, because she lied to everyone that she is Charlie and killed her aunt. Red Dress Charlie explains that her anger comes from Henry. First, when Charlie died, Ella was everything that left after Charlie. Henry cried to it, bled to it, started to treat it as her daughter, but Henry wasn't content with that, because his daughter has to grow.
Jen, I swear she's more than another animatronic. She walks, she talks.
Of course she does, Henry. Everything you build can walk or talk. But the reason this one seems so real is because you're destroying your mind with these frequencies and codes. What is this? Fake blood? Henry, just because you can make a doll that bleeds...
She remembers, Jen. She remembers me.
No, Henry. You remember. Zap your head with enough of these rays, and I bet your tea kettle can tell you about your lost family.
She's not lost anymore. She's in this doll.
You have a son, Henry. A living son. And your wife. They can still be a part of your life. But you have to let go of this.
She's here. My Charlie is here.
Charlie was surprised by the son. She thought that Sammy is dead, but Red Dress Charlie ignored it and started to talk about her creation. Henry let the Red Dress Charlie all the time turn on, being aware of every moment and unfinished. Then she explains how Henry transformed their memories into another model. First a baby, then a little girl, the teenager, and then an adult, perfect as Red Dress Charlie addresses herself. But something changed with Henry that more and more labored. He racked his grief over his little girl. The littlest Charlie was made with a broken heart and cried all day and night. The second one was made when Henry believed his own lies. The second Charlie was similarly hopelessly desperate for father's love as he was for hers. After it, he started to realize that he was going crazy. Red Dress Charlie called the third, our Charlie, strange, and when Henry started to make the fourth, it wasn't made with a broken heart or madness. This one was with rage and anger. Henry's first words to Red Dress Charlie were, "You are wrong." Henry tried to fix her and realized that the existence of her was a mistake and abandoned her. After Red Dress Charlie received a soul by her doing, she could finally comprehend all the memories. In a cruel irony, she escaped the life of the neglected daughter just to embody another. Charlie confronts Red Dress Charlie with the fact that she was stolen by Afton, but after she was taken back by Henry and Closet in the fourth closet. Everything that Charlie thought was Sammy was actually a call from Red Dress Charlie. Back in reality, she said again that Sammy is alive and normally grew up without knowing Charlie existed because Charlie died and was made again. Charlie was put back together. Red Dress Charlie then punched right into Charlie and took Ella from her. Back to Carlton, he finds a child and wants to quickly leave, but Afton stops them and has a monologue. Carlton, out of the molten Freddy, like an animatronic, hears Michael. Carlton asks Afton how he could force them to do it, but Afton tells him that they do it willingly. All the souls of children still trust him, and even Michael still remembers Carlton. Afton then puts a needle into Carlton that makes him unconscious. Meanwhile, Red Dress Charlie talks to the bleeding Charlie in pain. While Red Dress Charlie is talking, Charlie is craving away. Right now, Carlton wakes up and sees that everything around is white, but then hears Michael asking for a green crayon. Carlton asks Michael what he is doing, and he says that he must put them back together because all of the papers are in pieces. Carlton asks him again what is really putting back together, and he says, "My friends." And one of them is the yellow bunny and wants to know who Michael thinks he is, and he completely without a doubt thinks he is their friend. Carlton knows that it represents Afton, and they have no clue that Afton killed them, and every needle that Afton puts into the molten Freddy like animatronic makes his drawings fly away, but Carlton helps him get them back. Meanwhile, Charlie destroys half of Red Dress Charlie's face and quickly runs away. Charlie runs towards an endoskeleton made by Henry that killed him. Red Dress Charlie makes herself look like normal Charlie and asks her how long it will take John before he would notice that something is different. Charlie activates the endoskeleton that killed both Charlies, and the last thing that she thinks of is John. John then walks in and sees Charlie dead. Carlton is right now helping Michael to catch all drawings and sees Susie, Cassidy, Gabriel, and Fritz back. Afton is now going to kill a child and sends Mangle to bring that last child and Circus Baby's pizza to him closer. Then Susie says that she wants to get something for their friend. Carlton asks for who. Susie says that the yellow rabbit wants to bring a new friend and he needs her help. Carlton says to her that the yellow Bonnie isn't their friend, but Susie doesn't agree and draws a new drawing where he shows Afton kill them and explains to them that he wants to kill another child. In a moment that Afton almost kills a child, all of the animatronics molted into one attacks him and make him burn with them. Charlton wakes up and talks to Michael and assures him that the child is okay and that he goes to his friends. But before Carl gives him a drawing because without it we would die. Carlton then wakes up in the hospital and Marla, Jessica, and John around him with Clay walking in. Carlton and Jessica were happy that all of the children were saved and asks about Charlie, and the whole room goes silent. Clay says that no one knows and that he looks for her. This last scene will let go fully.
John.
You can take this as an analysis of books if you've seen it all. These books are incredibly deep in my heart, mainly the second one. Please, if you can, read the books or watch a comic dub from Elementia Studios. They made a very great work that makes the story much bigger honor than this AI voice or my script ever could. And if you skipped it, welcome back. We can go on the main subject of the video. Why did I say all of it just for the 2-minute long trailer? Let me remind you of the first FNAF movie. The main character, Mike, has a sister. The whole movie, he is trying to find his brother. That was kidnapped when they were young by William Afton, and because one of parents committed a suicide and the other one left, their aunt wants to take Abby. Mike finds a new job from William Afton that goes under a different name. He knows a lot about Freddy's and the reason why it got closet and why it's still standing. Mike Afton is a little bit impulsive, short-tempered. In one of his dreams, Foxy attacked him and made Mike's hand bleed. Then a police officer, Vanessa, comes and talk a bit about Freddy's, its history, etc. It's obvious that she knew a lot about it. She makes animatronics for a while to dance, but they kind of stop functioning. Then, after the end of the night, 4 people go to the restaurant to destroy it. That doesn't go well, and everyone dies. Later that day, Vanessa informs Mike about the incident that happened in Freddy's. Because a babysitter is dead, Mike is forced to take Abby to Freddy's. After a cleaning, Mike takes a nap where, with the help of Golden, Freddy realizes that the yellow rabbit took his brother. He couldn't get more information because he hears Abby scream and quickly goes to save her, ready to destroy the animatronics. But he is met with a surprise that they didn't attack Abby at all. Freddy was planning to do the same thing to Mike as he did to Max, but Abby stopped him. Abby tells him that the animatronics like drawings, and in the movie drawings are the thing that children filter their emotions through. So if you draw a heart to Bonnie, he understands that you like him. After the night, Mike looks at drawings of Abby in her room and finds some pretty interesting drawings about things that she shouldn't even know. Like about Garrett in a car with his orange plane. Mike wants to know if the souls of children remember who took him, but they just talk about the yellow rabbit. Mike still didn't find a good babysitter, so he is forced to take Abby with him again into Freddy's, where is Vanessa looking at the drawings on the wall with the yellow rabbit. Vanessa confirms Mike's theory about the kidnapped children possessing the animatronics, and then they start to build a fort. Yes, they want to just play. Then Mike and Vanessa goes to find something they can use as a roof for their fort in the storage. There they find a spring-lock suit of Ella, on which Vanessa demonstrates how dangerous they are, and if there wasn't enough of danger. Abby tries to play on Bonnie's guitar and gets for some short time unconscious. This makes Vanessa mad on Mike that he took her into Freddy's, and doesn't want him to let Abby go into Freddy's again. All these accidents convince Mike that may not be the best guardian to put Abby to danger. So he called their aunt if she could babysit Abby. But Abby thinks that Mike wants to put her away to aunt that she hates. This time when he dreams, Garrett is with his father and mother, and Cassidy tells Mike that everything could be like this. If he gave him Abby, Mike is for a time convinced and agrees to give him Abby, but then realizes how big mistake he did, but there are no refunds and dead kids get angry on him and attack him, almost killing him in the process. But it's just a dream, right? Wrong. Mike is terribly wounded and now almost dying in the animatronic suit. Mike, unlike his predecessor or phone guy in games, gets away from it. Mike gets almost killed by Foxy, but manages to escape him. Back in his house, it's not great. Abby still hates both Mike and her aunt and feels alone, but Cassidy in his Golden Freddy suit helps her with her hatred towards her aunt and makes her aunt fall. They went to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and then Cassidy disappeared, but Abby still wanted to see Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. Animatronics start to dance and have a good time. But Mike doesn't. He now, for Vanessa, discovers that the killer who killed him is her father. William Afton also gave her Garrett's orange plane. What a perfect psycho. Vanessa doesn't want to help Mike because she is scared of her father that didn't give her the best childhood, but gives Mike a teaser and her police car so he could get back into Freddy's quicker, even if he is almost dead. Meanwhile, Abby followed Susie and Chica that from nowhere tries to put her into Ella's springlock. But Mike that electrified Bonnie and Freddy on the stage saves her. And also electrified Chica. Then they rub through the corridor. But Cupcake Carl is an absolute beast and attacks Mike. Both are now separated, but Abby wasn't in the better situation because Foxy was going after her and she has to hide in arcades. Foxy almost gets her, so Abby found a ball pit and went into it. She didn't travel in time to 80s to see Spring Bonnie do what he loves, and Vanessa saves her from Foxy. Mike meanwhile manages to disable Cupcake Carl, tries to find her, but got found by Spring Bonnie. Mike tries to electrify him with his taser, but this doesn't work against our favorite psychopath William Afton. And Mike gets punched, kicked, and almost killed by the killer that killed at least 13 children in the games. The only one that saves Mike is Vanessa, who shoots him. But why would it work against William Afton? Afton pretty badly stabs his daughter like nothing happens. Mike took this as an opportunity and told Abby to draw a drawing of how Spring Bonnie killed the children, because this is the only way you can communicate with them and actually convince them. If Abby didn't do it, the animatronics would probably kill them because, well, they're encircled by them. But before Afton could stop Abby from drawing his actions. It's already done. Animatronics now see what happened and who he really is. They turn on Afton because he doesn't have a mask, and they now know he killed them. Afton gets Spring locked and says,
I always come back.
Then animatronics take him into darkness while Abby, Mike, and Vanessa leave. At the end, we see Abby that misses her friends at Freddy's. But the last scene is between Cassidy and Springtrap, being pretty alive. This was the fastest reminder of the movie I could do, just to show you the similarities of it. But no worry, now I will say every single similarity between books and the movie. And after it, I will do the same with the Fnaf 2 teaser and new trailer. Let me start with drawings, like in the fourth closet, animatronics turn on William Afton just after you draw how he killed them. Literally the same thing happened in the movie. Drawings are all the film presented like something important, and when Abby drew how William killed the children, they turned on him immediately. This moved up to the springlock scene. In Silver Eyes, Charlie activates springlocks, and in the movie, it's the cupcake. I don't want to focus on who activated them, more on what happened in that scene. Springlock failure happens in both versions. It happens in the dining area while animatronics are around him. William didn't also bleed so much. In the comic, you can see that there isn't so much blood and also is analyzed as fake in the Twisted Ones. In the movie, you can see a little bit of blood on William, but nowhere else, not on the floor or carpet. He just kind of dies and gets dragged away by animatronics. You can't say this isn't intended. Similarly to Afton's name, in Silver Eyes it's Dave, but in the movie it's Steve. Both are common American names. Also look at his job. In the Silver Eyes, he is the one that tells almost all the history of Freddy's, and in the movie, I mean, he did it too, but not so much. Still, it happened, and this you can say it's not intended, but if we look on Silver Eyes, William's design and movie design, call me a detail finder, but they look so similar. And actors of the missing children are not helping to it. Look at them in the movie and now in the fourth closet. In the movie, they have more animatronic things on them, like Bonnie having his ears or Foxy his hook. But if we deleted these things that are implemented just to make obvious who is what animatronic, they are the same. All right, I talked a lot about everyone else, but Mike, our protagonist. Of course, we don't know how an adult Michael in the books would be looking. Yet we can compare Charlie's and Mike's characters and what they do. I would like to start with the first thing Mike does when we see him. Push-ups, pretty normal, right? Everyone ever did some, but this might be Mike's routine to do push-ups every day. And what we know about Charlie that she mentioned more than once in the Twisted Ones. She does push-ups. I acknowledge the fact it's pretty random, but let me tell you something. They're characters. Charlie in the books is pretty impulsive and tired. You might not call Mike impulsive, but I would call punching father of a child just because he thought the child was kidnapped is pretty impulsive. Also, both are pretty short-tempered if you had anything to do with their missing member of family, like Charlie almost killing Springtrap with a rock, and Mike, well, we know what I would say. We can all agree that both are tired, Charlie mainly in the last two books. And when we're talking about Mike's punching of a father, if we look at a child in this scene, and the scene where he wants Mike to stop, they look differently, maybe because Mike has hallucinations? Let's go with that. It's not so often in this movie, and he doesn't have them so much, unlike Charlie who has them almost all the time. Mike has more dreams about Garrett being kidnapped, and Charlie has similar dreams, but about her twin Sammy being behind a door. I would also like to point out the fact that to both of them, William Afton kidnapped a family member, brother or twin, when they were smaller. And because of it, their family is destroyed. In Mike's case, his mother kills herself. In Charlie's, it's Henry. Also, Mike and Charlie never ever see the other parent again. I guess it is in Mike's case because they are living alone, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mike stayed after his mother's death with Aunt Jane. Both aunts are also pretty cold. I just guess in Mike's case, but it does sound probable. Like a similarity between Charlie and Mike trying to find out who kidnapped their twin/brother. Both are pretty passive about it. I mean, Charlie doesn't actively try to find Sammy in any of the books. She just has some clues about Sammy on the way. Mike isn't really trying to find Garrett in real life at all in the movie. Similarly to Charlie in Silver Eyes that just assumes Sammy is dead. Yes, Mike is trying to find out who kidnapped Garrett, but not where he is, and it's in dreams, so I wouldn't count it as an act of trying. There are just some clues about him on the way. I said a lot about Charlie and Mike, so I want to go back to my favorite killer, William Afton. Through him, both Charlie and Mike realized that he kidnapped the person they lost. I want to go back to details. William talks a little bit about the supposed fate of Freddy's. In both the movie and Silver Eyes, Freddy's was meant to be demolished. And yet it stands, yes, in the books and them all, but still it's not destroyed. We can call animatronics destroyed. Why? The main character doesn't really know or doesn't want to make. Freddy, Chica, Bonnie dance, but when a different character did it, we will ignore who, they will stop functioning. After a few seconds, they can't dance. Do they try to kill protagonists? Well, at the end it looks like, but just at the end. Mainly Foxy has a lot of screen and page time because he pretty often cuts Charlie and Mike into the arm. I'm sure that he would want to cut Charlie and Abby into pieces in arcades. No, really, look at this. Abby hides in the arcades because of Foxy and then gets on the last moment saved by Vanessa. Charlie hides in the arcades because of Foxy and then gets on the last moment saved by John. We change names in this scene. This isn't coincidence or me funding details. You can't deny it. Similarly, that it's super weird that everything important that you talk about happens in the restaurant, not in their house or on the street. I understand we need MatPat in the movie, but even in the books, Charlie and John are pretty often in the restaurant talking about Freddy's. In the movies, they did it just once, but why would you talk about an illegal act in the restaurant? All right, this might actually be a coincidence. Do you remember Ella? That little doll that was Charlie and Charlie played with it? She is in the movie too, but isn't a toddler size, but a normal size springlock suit. You know what is interesting? That springlocks look identical to the ones in the Twisted Ones. When I went to the movie, I expected the Silver Eye style springlocks. Yet the fact they didn't go with the Silver Eye style shows that this is an intended detail that we can see even in the springlock suit failure again. And you know what happened again? Chica got electrified. I know she's a chicken, but you don't have to make KFC from her. It happened in the books and in the movie. It's kind of ironic that she will probably try to kill Mike with her cables on her arms. Let's go back to Mike and Charlie in Silver Eyes. Charlie has a friend named Marla that has a brother Jason that is 11 years old. You know, it's fascinating that animatronics are not aggressive towards children in any way, but even more fascinating is the fact that Marla and Mike take their siblings to Freddy's. By the way, Jason is 11 years old and Abby is 10 years old. Just for a record, they are similar ages. You thought I won't mention that fort building scene again? Mistake, because this is the only scene where we can see how strong animatronics are. Yes, they can take a table in too, which isn't that impressive, but Bonnie could easily take this guy's hand from the rest of the body. Can you do that? Don't try it, but you can't. People forget that these aren't from plastic material, they're from metal. In the books, basically everyone except Chica destroyed a lot of things, like Bonnie destroying bathrooms or Freddy tables. So we can say that in both books and the movie, animatronics are strong. Back to William. In the Twisted Ones, he gets shot from clay. That is a policeman. In the movie, he has the same fate, but now his daughter. That is also from the police. Of course, it did nothing to Afton. So I will start with a teaser, in which normal I would not see anything telling about the story of this movie, because we all know the book's lore. We can crack down, and from every frame, find something interesting that actually reveals something new. By the way, you can do the same with clicking a dot for skipping one frame, an arrow left or right for skipping 5 seconds, and L or J for skipping 10 seconds on your keyboard. First, we get a shot on the poster where I can't find anything lore-related. Then we see an endoskeleton with yellow eyes turning on, but there is no endoskeleton with yellow eyes, except withered Foxy, which is a good guess. If we look at the endoskeleton's arm, we can see they're almost identical. This obviously 02 endoskeleton, we can recognize him by his head, and if we see more around the screen, it doesn't seem as functioning well. Or should I say, reconstruct well. Because Mangle is the only animatronic with this endoskeleton head that also has yellow eyes. Then after some scenes of Fall Fest, we see Abby going back to Freddy's, but not to the restaurant we know from the first movie. We can clearly see that she's going to toy animatronic restaurant. Clearly at night. Remember that into the movie story prediction. Then we see a note on the door that says, "Gone to fix my friends," but we know this door isn't from her room. We can see her doors in the movie. Mike takes a note, with his beard almost non-existent and in a gray-blue shirt. I will address this in the movie prediction. In the next scene, we see Vanessa saying to Mike that they are out there. That confirms to us in the next shot with Toy Bonnie behind a window. To it, I can say that toy animatronics will do similar things as the twisted ones, because we almost never seen an animatronic outside of the restaurant, if we don't count the Mimic and these footprints in the Midnight Motorist. Then we see a control panel with a button Showtime and other buttons. Because it is pretty dark, I think it might be under the stage with Mike clicking it. After we see a professor in the school, kind of looking similar to the William Afton that gets killed by Toy Chica. In the next scene is Mangle destroying the window at night, probably into Mike's house. We can see that Mike and Vanessa wear the same clothes like in these shots. Then we get some shots of Toy Bonnie that is going to do the same thing as in the Banana Splits movie. Then some people being attacked. But this scene, right there folks, the jewel of this teaser. An illusion of Afton, or is it? We know that Henry Emily will be in this movie, and in the books, they look pretty similar. Afton will make a sense, and even this scene looks like Elizabeth going with her drawing to Afton in the fourth closet, but Afton not being happy about it. Then we see Vanessa in some form of psychiatric room, aiming her gun at something. Ballon Boy looked into our eyes because we didn't give him batteries. Afton taking his knife, Mangle attacked a guy with a camera. Then some shots of Mangle on the car, and our trio looking at something. What this teaser shows us. Abby goes to the new restaurant. Toy animatronics go around and kill random people. And Vanessa having a hard time with memories of Afton and Freddy's with hallucinations coming with it. Nothing really big, but we did everything we could do with this 48 seconds teaser. We now go to the trailer. That is 2.5 minutes long. This right there made me write everything in this video. First scene is just a kid driving, nothing unusual, but people inside it aren't. We discover that these three are going for ghost hunting. Like it would be a good idea. And never anything went ever wrong. They go through and see mainly a ride with a cave and water and plushies of the puppet all around. They see a balloon boy and the rest of the toy animatronics. Then they hear the music box, go to the box that slowly opens. After this, we see Vanessa and Mike having dinner. Mike has a gray shirt, as I mentioned in the teaser. Both talk about Freddy's and how they've come pretty far after the things that happened in the first movie. AKA, this movie takes a year after the first one. Then there's a shot of Vanessa laying on the bed, definitely looking traumatized. Then they talk about Abby. We see her building some form of a small endoskeleton. Mike talks about how Abby misses her friends. Then we see Abby playing with whatever this phone toy is. Then in the night talks to Abby, it wants her to find them. And Abby takes her bike, and at night goes to Freddy's as we've seen in the teaser. In a shadow, we see Toy Chica in a school. Vanessa looks into the something. I would say that she is under the podium that Abby saw, because of the shape over her where we can see the puppet. That is just terrifying. Mainly in the FNAF VR, she was like 10 times more scary, and this will make a similar feel. Then we see a child with Spring Bonnie taking him into the back room, like in the pit scene. Undeniably, this child is Bonnie, aka Jeremy. Then we see Mike and Vanessa in the cave with Balloon Boy, and another scene with Balloon Boy attacking a guy that was in the van. But this trailer lies to you. These two scenes are not connected by any chance because of the light. In the scene with Mike and Vanessa, they have flashlights. 2 flashlights will make a big light, right? But in this scene with this already dead guy, there's almost no light except the one coming from his flashlight. These scenes are not connected. Then this scene with Afton in his suit is definitely going to be connected to this one. This is a flashback or hallucinations of Vanessa, but this is definitely where William killed Jeremy. Look how his eyes glow, unlike in the first movie. And his suit isn't really broken. It's in the perfect condition. Unlike the suit we see in the next scene touching Vanessa on the shoulder. This scene is undeniably a hallucination of Vanessa that is in a hospital or the psychiatric room. I don't know if this is the mistake of captions or something, but there's Mike screams, and it's not Mike. Maybe this professor is named Mike. So that would mean animatronics go after people named Mike. Mike hears a Balloon Boy giggle and then gets attacked by Withered Chica being aggressive, and Wither Bonnie that looks awesome in the vent. So this is a full analysis of the trailer. It told us a little bit more than a teaser. Possible to put everything into the games. so Scott decided to create books where the lore could be explained. But even the lore of the books was so massive that Scott decided to make out of them an alternative timeline. The movie is not in the main story of games. Similarly to the books, it takes characters and makes them walk a different path than they did. Books did the same thing, and Scott has put the lore inside the books. Scott was pretty active in the production of the movie and had a big say in the story. The film was planned in 2015 after the first game, and Scott chose Warner Brothers before they wanted to do something different, aka Banana Split movie. Yes, it was meant to be the FNAF movie. Then Blumhouse came and said, "Hey Scott, you have made a pretty talented community around the games. What about we will together create a movie, respect lore, characters, etc., and you'll have a say in it." Also about FNAF was a reputation that it wasn't possible to be adapted into a film because it has a lore pretty deep, but not a direct story. At least back in the day. We can see that it was hard even for scriptwriters because there was a script in which plushies took over Manhattan. That scriptwriter definitely played too much Freddy in space. My argument is, Scott gave green to the books that are not really similar to the games, but more to the movie. I'm pretty aware of the fact that there was a script named The Silver Eyes, but that means writers took inspiration from books. For some reason, I think the plushies against Manhattan was inspired by the Twisted Ones. It sounds too absurd for being randomly created in mind. Scott definitely wanted to combine books and games into one. Scriptwriters did the same thing. So there's a reason to think that the FNAF movie 2 will be even more similar to the Twisted Ones with games combined into it. Because sequels are always bigger, with more characters and bigger locations, and FNAF 2 has more story because of things that happen in the day. Like William Afton killing another 5 children, the bite of 87, and everything around an FNAF 1, it will be mentioned in the movie. So if this didn't convince you, then you can just listen to my predictions. I won't go scene by scene saying everything, not because I don't want to, but because I've tried it and ultimately failed. It's basically almost impossible to get it from the 3 minutes of material we have got. Basically, I will go around and say some plot twists, materials, and where it could occur in the movie. In the start, I think in this movie will Vanessa get more screen time, because unlike Mike, she didn't figure everything out. She has traumas, definitely hallucinations. That Mike won't have. In the first movie, Mike's goals were, find a guy who kidnapped Garrett, find Garrett if he is still alive, keep Abby. And everything was accomplished at the end of FNAF 1. Vanessa's hallucinations will be happening around the start until the middle of the movie, but the last few will be at the end. Vanessa will go to the therapist once, because everything she did in the past and getting stabbed will give you a solid trauma. If we look at the video on the Comic-Con, I will get my video and channel deleted, and I will be put into the sister location spring suit. So I won't show you anything, but I animated you something. At the time I write, I don't know what, but something definitely. I will also try my luck with audio from the scene.
Yeah, I found. It's a clip of
Welcome to Freddy's.
You're cool if we record everything?
Of course. That's why you're here, isn't it? This restaurant had a lot of unique features.
Like the marionette.
You did your homework. Yeah. The marionette truly was one of a kind. What's the marionette?
The marionette would come out of this trap door on the stage and direct the other animatronics during performances.
That's right. They never made another one. Shall we? They look brand new. Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica.
What about Foxy?
Foxy was involved in a failed, take-apart, put-back-together attraction and was never quite the same again. Kids can be so heartless.
You guys hear that?
So, did you enjoy the animation? Because I did not. In it, we can hear a guy. His name is Jeremy. Yeah, the guy we play as in the second game, until Mangle makes us not. In it, we hear Jeremy talk with our Scooby-Doo gang and allow them to take footage. We can Jeremy even see in the trailer. What is interesting about him? He wears purple. Purple is so associated with the Night Guards that I don't believe that it's random. We know that in games William Afton had 3 children. First is Mike, second is David, and then Elizabeth. Vanessa resembles Elizabeth. David is dead. But what about Mike Afton? It's pretty acknowledged by the community that we play as Mike Afton in these games. And we don't have it. Our main character is missing. We could say that Mike resembles Mike Afton, but I highly disagree. Mike is pretty much taking the role of Jeremy from games as a random Night Guard. That means just one thing. Jeremy Fitzgerald is Michael Afton. I think you all heard the theory. In first, I was pretty against it, but now from a storytelling perspective, it makes a lot of sense. Plus, you can't deny the fact that Freddie Carter is pretty similar to Matthew Lillard, almost like he was his younger version. That could be a scratch, but Michael Afton is meant to be similar to William Afton. He tells it in this infamous scene.
Father, it's me, Michael. I did it. I found it. It was right where you said it would be. They were all there. They didn't recognize me at first, but then they thought I was you.
Michael looks like his father, and Scott wants to make his character from the games or books look similar in the movie. And from a storytelling perspective, in the game's first 3 games are about the murderer and his fate, and the other 3 games about the people that are trying to atone William's crimes, like Henry, Michael, or the puppet, and about the people that are trying to continue the bad things, like Circus Baby or William. I think Vanessa did something terrible, and her brother helped her. It's the death of Charlie Emily. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I know this might sound random, but let me explain myself. When do we see the puppet in the trailer? For the first time, we see her in the box that opens with her music box. Then we see her being behind Vanessa twice. Okay, she is just in the box and attacks McKenna. What from it? I know that I'm already annoying you with it, but they look similarly. Of course, not so much as Michael and William do, because character of McKenna and Vanessa shouldn't be related. But look at them. They look pretty similar. Remember, the only reason that phone guy and Michael Afton get attacked for in the first game, it's because we're the Night Guards. The only thing the children know about William is that he was an employee of the restaurant, probably the Night Guard. So, if animatronics attacked us just because of our job in uniform, I don't think that the similarity of the looks of McKenna's character with Vanessa is random. Puppet with the soul of Charlie wants to kill Vanessa and accidentally thinks that McKenna's character is Vanessa. Okay, the puppet has a problem with Vanessa. But why? Do you think she would want to kill someone? I don't know. Because she would destroy your sandcastle? I would definitely, but Charlie isn't that type of person. Henry describes Charlie as a caring person with empathy. So Puppet wouldn't want to kill Vanessa for the destruction of his sandcastle. Charlie was killed by William just because she was left alone outside of the pizzeria by 3 children that put a box on the box where the security puppet was. Meant to protect Charlie from getting killed by William, but ultimately failed because she couldn't get out and Charlie was killed. Now you understand why I said that Vanessa helped with her death. Does it sound like Vanessa is one of the children that put the box on security puppet? That prevented her from helping Charlie? Vanessa is one of 3 children that left Charlie alone in darkness, waiting for her death. We know that William was a terrible father and even worse man. Making his daughter help him with the murder of a child sounds like a thing he would do. In the FNAF's movie sequel, Vanessa will have much more screen time, and we will see what William Afton did to her. What will Michael Afton do? We know that will be one of the main characters in the movie, and I guess that is the main antagonist of the movie. Unlike in games, where Elizabeth tried to make her father proud and Michael Afton trying to stop them. In the movie, Michael or Jeremy will continue in William's career and Elizabeth with Mike and Abby trying to stop him. We know the most important moment in the movie. In this film, we will see the bite of 87, and on 70%, even Fredbear's family dinner were at least mentioned. I can imagine seeing Fredbear's family dinner around the middle of the movie, probably after this scene where Mike and Vanessa talk about toy animatronics being outside. For some reason, I expect that the Fall Fest won't be in the movie so much and will just show how it went back into mainstream. I think Henry will be the one that is behind it. We know that Henry always wanted to continue with Freddy's, but it wouldn't work after the death of children. So for Henry, Fall Fest will be able to give attention to the Freddy's, and he will be able to again open the pizzeria with toy animatronics. I don't have any evidence for it. This will be Henry's goal for the whole movie, but we will discover it in probably somewhere in the later middle of the movie. And there's an option that he will be just dead by that time, and he will be just a flashback character. I don't think so, and I fully want to see Matthew Lillard with Skeet Ulrich. When I mentioned Springtrap, there are two options for him. First is that we won't almost see him. Basically, Abby will accidentally find him in the Freddy's at the start. I think it will be similar to the Twisted Ones. Even in the Twisted Ones, we barely see Springtrap, just at the start and at the end, and I think it will sadly be like this in the movie. I mean, real Springtrap, not William Afton or hallucination. I don't think that Scott will want to have William Afton from the fourth closet in the third movie, and I'm kind of scared of Scott going by this way. The second choice Scott has is making him a much bigger antagonist and basically giving him much more screen time. Yet this might be a worse decision. I want to see Springtrap 2, but he just can't fit in a movie. I just can't see him being in the movie more than in the Twisted Ones. But I just hope that they will just show Springtrap and save him to the third movie where he will be much better implemented and will even have the best look. Even if I kind of like Scraptrap, he is pretty underrated. So I predicted the plot twist, the antagonist, and what now? We will hear it's been so long in the end. I'm sorry, but if we had FNAF 1 song in the first movie, we would have It's Been So Long. There isn't a more iconic song from FNAF 2. I don't want to try to predict something we exactly see will happen, like Vanessa and Mike being on the date, or Abby getting lured into Freddy's. I have a small theory at the end. Remember the end of the Twisted Ones? Charlie died, but then came back. I think this end will meet someone. Both Vanessa and Mike make sense, but I don't think Blumhouse has balls to kill Mike and make an animatronic out of him, mainly because of his sister. So I would guess Vanessa, but I just cannot unsee the fact that Mike can die in this movie. Mike will be a lot more searching for Garrett, and see more scenes with him. Toy Freddy will kill Mike, just because he will feel Garrett behind the door. As I said in the similarities section, Charlie from books and Mike are almost one and the same character. Toy animatronics will probably be just twisted but plastic. Scott won't use the fourth closet, because this is more about characters that aren't in the movie. This movie won't end with a happy ending, and everyone that works on the sequel promised us a much scarier movie, and I believe them. My folks, this is the end of the video. I thank you for watching this 17,000 words video. And if you want, you can please like and write into comments things that I should improve and your own ideas or theories on the FNAF 2 movie. I will definitely go this time into the cinema with a notebook and trying to find every detail and clue about the third movie. But this time I won't make the video so long. Have a good rest of the day or night.